Williams veers left, pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds to an 11-109. Now SGA probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top of Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Huntsinger at Thunder Chats. We're part of the Believe Network. Of this podcast brought to you by BetOnline.ag. Now that that's out of the way, the Thunder have won their first two playoff games of the 2025 season, beating the Memphis Grizzlies tonight in not as convincing fashion as game one, but still very convincing fashion. And we are here to talk about it. We're here to react to all that and more. First of all, we've got my co-host, my compadre, the cockroach connoisseur, Matt Tierney. Tierney, what's up, brother?
You're choking up since I'm here, I guess. I get it. It's an emotional time. I am happy to be here. You know, didn't expect a 51-point blowout again, but I'll take whatever it ended up being, like 20, 19, something like that.
19, yeah.
We'll take those. Before I forget, also, if you are watching live or if you're watching later, be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, which you should be watching right now. We're trying to get to 900 before the series is over, and I have a strong feeling the series is going to be over fast. So you don't have a lot of time if you're not subscribed, and about 50% of people that watch this are not subscribed. So there's a good chance you're not. So please help us out. It helps the channel. It helps us. And we appreciate it. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I missed game one. It was Easter. I was with family, but definitely an exciting time to be a Thunder fan there. And then, yeah, today, you know, the Grizzlies definitely put up a better fight, and it definitely felt a little more like a playoff game in terms of the competitiveness and the edge. So even though it ended up not being that close, there was a point there in that third quarter, especially where we had some moments of being able to say, like, buckle down and lock in. And so I'm glad the young guys got that experience at the very least. But yeah, overall, just a very dominant performance by the Thunder.
Yeah, for sure. And we got some people in the chat already. Shout out Jay McKee says, "Let's go Thunder. Let's go all the way, brother." And we got the man, the myth, the legend, Nathan Horath saying, "Let's get it. Let's get it, man." Like, hey, we're like we said, we are 2-0 headed into Memphis on Thursday, with a chance to, you know, put this within range of sweeping the game. I think that, you know, we'll talk more about like the rest of the series as the pod goes on, but I think that this wasn't the best shot that Memphis has. It's obviously a better shot than game one, but I think that we're going to get Memphis's best shot in game three. And then game four, like, you know, it's just going to be all she wrote at that point. But anyways, I mean, hey, we're here to talk about tonight's game. We're not looking ahead yet. Cone will be joining us here in a little bit. If you guys don't know, Cone covers the entire NBA, not just the Thunder. So he is very busy in this time. But hey, he still has his team. He makes time for his team. So he's going to come on and talk about the game as well. But Tierney, let's go ahead and get it started, man. Single large item. I love deferring. I know you hate it when I make you go first. So.
It's okay.
Single large item, man. What you got?
It's the duo of cookies and cream, as we
Yes,
have
sir.
been discussing before the pod. We are trying to get a t-shirt idea for this because I love that concept. If you are new to the channel or new in general to our the pod, cookies and cream is, of course, Cason Wallace, the Cookie Monster, and the cream is Alex Caruso, the dynamic duo of this team that, quite frankly, even though, if you just look at the stat sheet and like points, rebounds, assists, and all that, weren't, the biggest impact, but they made themselves known on the defensive end, especially. And the effort that those two put in every single defensive possession, but also offensive possession as well, is part of the reason why, this team is leaps and bounds better than the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies talent-wise are not up to our standard, but it's the effort that those two guys and the rest of the team put in that I think is why this is going to be a sweep. There was particularly a couple of plays that I noted for those two guys. The first was in the first half with Caruso, who actually dove on the floor twice. He did it again in the second half, but in the first half, a great diving play and like threw it to Ihart, and he was like on the ground too, and they eventually got the ball and forced a turnover. To be doing that up 17 at that point when you already beat this team by 51 points, not even letting off the gas a little bit. I tweeted this out from our pod, but that's a culture thing. That's just being on 100% effort, no matter what the score is on the scoreboard. And then the other was Queso, who towards the second half, there were other instances of this. It's just one I recall, was on an offensive rebound, getting the offensive rebound over Santi Aldama, who is probably like 8 inches taller than him, I would say.
Yeah.
Despite that, getting it over him and then immediately sort of just waiting and timing for Chet to lob it up to him for an alley-oop. Again, just like an effort play. One of those things that you can't teach necessarily. It's just, or I guess you can, but it's not something that you're born with. It's something that is part of that culture. And so those two guys defensively were everywhere on the boards. They were everywhere, as well as many others who we'll probably get to as well. It was the efforts that they put in. So the cookies and cream dynamic duo of Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso. Those are my single large items.
They're good choices, man. I'm sitting here trying to find, as you was talking, the series that kind of happened. Maybe it was just the entire fourth quarter. I don't know. Basically, what happened was, okay, yeah. So the Thunder came in up 11 going into the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And like right off rip, Alex Caruso made a three, open up the quarter. Mm-hmm. Cason blocked Scottie Pippen's shot and then got a dunk right off of that. And then Alex Caruso blocked Ja's shot not long after that, made his own little 2-point shot. Basically Alex Caruso and Cason Wallace just came in and absolutely just flipped the game on its head. Like we were saying, like the Grizzlies came out motivated. They didn't want to get punked like back-to-back games on the Thunder's floor. They didn't want to be that team. They didn't want to be the punchline for all the NBA talk shows again. So like they were out there, they were motivated, and they played well. And to cut it to 11 going into the fourth, they felt like they had a chance. And then we put Alex Caruso and Cason Wallace out there, cookies and cream to the max, like double stuffed. And they just went absolutely nuts, man. Like, stealing creating turnovers by stealing the basketball, contesting shots, blocking shots. Like Caruso blocked Jaren Jackson Jr., Cason blocked Scottie Pippen Jr., Caruso blocked Ja. They went down the other end. Cason has been he's been flying here recently. This time wasn't even off a transition. This was off of a pump fake, attacking a closeout from the corner and just putting it in like almost like a little like mini windmill almost with the right hand. Had the crowd just going absolutely nuts. Caruso was shooting the ball lights out. Like it's like they didn't even do as much defensively in terms of like creating turnovers in game one. But when both of those guys checked in last game, I believe they had 7 assists, and they're like between the two of them combined and like their limited minutes of action. And that happened in the second quarter. That was part of the huge run that pushed us up like 30 points in the first half that, eventually blended into 50 points. And it just goes to show you, man, like the impact that those guys make off the bench is just it's irreplicable. And there's not another team that has two guys like that. Obviously the starters are great, and the starters have been showing up here in this series so far, but on a night when they're not, or on a night where you just need a little bit of punch. That's why, like, as much as I liked even one of those guys starting on the, like, we was listening back to old podcasts, or I was listening back to old podcasts like before the season started, because we was revisiting predictions, and we were all very, very adamant about Kaysen or Caruso kind of being that fifth starter alongside Shea, Dort, Dub, and Chet, because we still all wanted to see Chet at the 5. And I'm not backing down from that. I still love Chet at the 5, but iHeart has been a godsend. But having those two guys off the bench as a spark, as just like an energy boost on both ends of the floor, like you see Alex Caruso diving for loose balls all over the place. You see Kaysen Wallace just like almost just like, you know what? I want that basketball. It's mine. It's just like that just infuses energy into your team. And that is what allows you to balloon runs. That is what allows you to go on these 10-0, 15-0, 20-0 runs. Just because their defense is contagious. And like whenever they're out there with a guy like Dub as well, who's disruptive in his own right, and I'm almost ready to say Dub is like a top 5 transition player in the NBA, because like when he gets a head full of steam, man, it is insane how much ground he can cover and how quickly. And also, like, he's so big, he's just bumping off of guys. I remember there was a play, I want to say late third, maybe early fourth.
Yeah.
But he got the ball off of a steal. It was Santi Aldama and John Morant, and Dub just bumped off both of them before he slammed with the one hand. It's just
that was a very Giannis-esque play.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. Yeah. Except he's about half a foot shorter.
So, hey, we got Giannis at home, man. But yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. Cookies and cream. Spoiler alert. I don't think I've wrote anything about this team like at all this season.
You getting your bag?
I think I'm getting in my bag tomorrow. I'm going to write something about Kaysen Wallace and Alex Caruso, the cookies and cream duo, if you will. So stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm.
I might be comparing them to another dynamic duo from a nostalgic childhood movie that many people have probably seen.
What could that be?
Who knows? I'll tell Chelsea. I'll mute it and tell Chelsea.
Okay. Well, while Dylan is telling Chelsea, to reiterate a couple things you mentioned that I kind of forgot until you said it. The Caruso 3, to me, was in that fourth quarter, the one you mentioned. To me, that was the turning point where I was like, okay, this game is wrapped. Because that third quarter, if you kind of look at it in its totality, was a lot of Jaren Jackson Jr. kind of getting a lot of very tough shots to go in. Like we were doing a great job on him defensively. He was just getting some incredible shots up. So shout out to him on that. Like that was really good. But the other thing that kind of went under the radar a little bit was that the Thunder went 0 for 6 from 3 in that quarter. Like they just kind of went cold all of a sudden after they hit 12 threes in the first half, which was a playoff record. And then the Caruso 3 in the fourth sort of changed that completely. So to me, that was like, okay, the shooting slump is gone a little bit, a great, start point to the quarter. And that just sort of carried through, like what you said with Kaysen and his steal. And that windmill dunk, by the way, was, I don't know how he got that up. It looked like he was going to hit the rim for a second. So that was an impressive finish. But yeah, those points about, how they changed that fourth quarter are definitely one of the pivotal points of this game for sure. Because, if Memphis puts that level of effort in 4 quarters, I think that they, I don't think they're necessarily going to win a game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than a 20-point or 50-point deficit for them. So I think I'm pretty confident and I think you already mentioned this too, but I think in game 3 or 4, I think we'll see a little bit of a closer game in Memphis. Someone in the chat mentioned it as well as, something along the lines of, we felt confident first 2 games last time in round 1. Chen in chat. I think that's definitely a fair point. We're not going to overlook this team by any stretch. But you also have to consider, and I think someone else in the chat, everyone needs a smile in the chat, mentioned we are just better both offense and defensively this season. So that's a factor here. But if the Grizzlies can put what they put together in the third quarter for a whole game. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it will be a competitive game. I don't think they're going to win. I think, the Thunder's defense is so smothering that they can just go on these, thunderstorms, like we call it on our Twitter, where they just go on 10, 15 point stretches where it's just all of a sudden a 20-point lead again. So that's just something that lesser teams are going to have a hard time combating. So, looking overall, it's definitely not a series yet, but Memphis definitely put up a better fight. But the Caruso and Kaysen factor kind of squandered all of that.
Have you seen what Rob Perez is calling the Thunder's runs?
Is it like something with Avalanche? I know he did that for the Warriors.
No, he did Avalanche for the Cavs.
Cavs, that's right.
But no, he just says flash, because it's you see the flash of lightning before the thunder comes.
I like that.
And it's by the time you see the lightning, the thunder's already there. I think Lou Dort even had that as his Instagram caption too. So yeah, I love that. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you addressed that about what I was going to say also to Chen is we're so much better this year. This is a historically great team. Last year was the youngest 1 seed in the history of the NBA, and we fought until the last game of the season to get the 1 seed. We've had the 1 seed locked up in the Western Conference this year. The Western Conference, which is an absolute bloodbath, for months, absolute months. And I'm not even worried about the Grizzlies. I think it's going to be a sweep. Going into the next round, he also brought up, we thought that the Mavs Clips was going to be a long series, and it turned out to be only 5 games. That might be the case. I don't really care. I'm not worried about it. I'm not scared of either team. I think that this team, as good as we have seen them play in these past 2 games, we still haven't seen them at their top form. We still haven't seen the fullness of their potential. So I think that it's there. I think that, we'll kind of talk about it as, we continue covering this game, but I think that there's a few things that we can improve on that makes us even more scary. But I'm going to address more of the chat. We got T in here. You're my guys. Shout out T, who also said cookies and cream, the wrecking machine.
We might take that as a slogan.
Let's see here.
Oops.
Oh, yeah. So the Grizz both play better offense and defense by a lot, and yet we still beat them almost 20. Yeah. In reference to how they played in game 1. I was reading that. I was like, I don't think they were better than us in one of them.
I don't think they were either.
But yeah, the people are are picking up on it here. Oh, shout out. I was about to say shout out Yanni. I just assume it's Yanni, but it's definitely Yanni. He says Mr. Chats all the time.
What
Looks
up?
like the Thunderstruck. Shout out Yanni.
Already struck
T. Yeah, I knew I misquoted it, but you guys got it. You guys understand. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the next single orange item. And when you said I'm taking 2 people, I thought you were going with a different 2 people. So
I think I know who this is.
There's it looks good though. I'm just gonna say Chelsea made a pretty good sketch for the shirt that we're looking at for cookies and cream.
Ooh.
At first glance. But anyways, my next single orange item, man, I could go either way. I went with the other guy first, so I'm gonna go with this guy. Shout out to freaking Jalen Williams, dude. This is a guy that all the talk shows, all the NBA talking heads, everybody on Twitter has had an opinion about for months now. And all anybody said was, if the Thunder are going to go far, I'm not worried about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And guess what? I'm also not worried about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Spoiler alert. I'm worried about Jalen Williams because last year in the playoffs, Shai showed up and showed out. In the Mavs, it's arguable that he was the best player in the entire series, even though we lost. But he had absolutely no help especially whenever he went to the bench. This year, Jalen Williams was that guy with a bullet. And going into this series, that was one of the big question marks. And when I say this guy has answered every single call that has been asked of him in this series as the number 2 option, When Shea goes to the bench, playing on both sides of the ball, creating your own shot, creating for your teammates, like he is just checking every single box. Tonight he had 24 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, which I can't believe he only had 1 steal because it felt like he was everywhere in defense.
That 1 steal though was pretty sick.
Yeah,
that was the one that I think that was Scottie Pippen Jr. I can't remember who still.
Oh no, it was Desmond Bain. Yeah, where
Desmond
he just reached around him and poked it and then went down for the dunk. Yeah, 10 and 19 shooting, 2 of 6 from deep, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Only had 1 turnover, and man, like I said, but he's been such a steadying force. Like I wish that there was a way to track how many fast break points like a player had in a game, because it felt like a lot of his were on fast break. Like I said, but he's become unstoppable in transition. Just like he's like a freight train whenever he gets a full head of steam, or whenever he gets a full head of steam. His 3-point shot, like we were saying, like he was 0-4 in game 1, started to come around. He had a couple big ones tonight. And then the midi, getting into the lane, finishing, he had like a mini 7 or 9-0 run in the second quarter, to when the game was still kind of close. Dub has just been absolutely phenomenal. And if he continues playing at this pace and Shea steps up and Chet keeps playing at this pace, like, forget the rest of the team, man. If those 3 guys are playing the best big 3 in the NBA, just hand us the title. Yeah,
I mean, we haven't yet discussed, and I don't know how much you want to discuss the Shea situation and how he's not had a great couple of games, but the fact that it has not been even a close game, despite Shea shooting about 30% from the field on 25 attempts these last 2 games, speaks a lot about Dub and Chet too, because both of them had fantastic games. Dub's fast break, you've already mentioned. I think that is kind of the highlight of this game, and just his downhill effort. I think Chet, on the other hand, his shooting looks a lot better now, and 5 blocks on top of that is just very ho-hum for him at this point. That's just what he does. But with Dub, it's the productivity, but I also think it is the energy that he brings with a lot of this. That one fast break was such a big energy moment for the crowd. There was the Aaron Wiggins and one, which I know he wasn't a part of, but his energy there was got the crowd going again. I think he's a spark in this flash, if you want to call it that, help his team sort of just get momentum instantly. Even if they're already on kind of a run, they can just elevate it to another level. I thought that efficiency wise, that is about as good of a game you're going to get from him. 10 of 19 from the floor, that's exactly what you need from him, especially when Shea is not his best. So shout out Deb.
Yeah, and he's also a guy that really feeds off the crowd. So obviously the whole barking thing, I made the prediction, before the season started, that the barking would end this year. It's kind of an all business approach. And the barking kind of ended for the players, but in the post game, but the fans still love the barking. And, whenever Dub had that M1, I think the Grizzlies called a timeout. You could hear the crowd barking so loud through the TV. It was crazy. It was truly awesome to see. So I think that's the next step, seeing him do this on the road whenever you don't have the crowd to feed off, because he's a very emotional player. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. So if he's able to channel that in the away game, then that's going to tell me even more about Dub and his performance.
The other one final thing on him that I just wanted to mention is I really was impressed with when he did get matched up on someone like Jaren Jackson Jr., how well he did to keep him in front of him. He obviously wasn't the main defensive assignment. Shout out iHeart for that. He did a great job as well. But whenever he did get that switch, he made Triple J's life a living hell trying to score at the rim. So just another little thing I want to mention about his performance tonight.
Yeah, let's save the Shea talk from whenever Cone inevitably jumps in here.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me your next single large item now.
You know who in the second quarter was just an absolute menace, and quite frankly, if I might say so myself, and I think I am the first to say this, he saved basketball.
Oh yeah, I've never heard that one.
Never. I think I'm going to coin that phrase. Is Aaron Wiggins? He only ended up with 8 points, and I don't think he really did much. He didn't even play the second half.
No, they didn't play him the second half. I was shocked.
Don't know why that happened. I just realized that. Why was he not in the game? But we'll, I guess, table that. That second quarter, some of the craziest finishes and geometry angles and spins on the ball to get those shots he was getting. The and 1-2 was just an impossible shot that went in. His finishing today was just electric. Someone on Twitter said that it felt like a thunderstruck moment with him and Shea, because Shea was not doing so hot, and here comes Aaron Wiggins doing exactly what Shea typically does. It felt like they kind of switched bodies a little bit there. But yeah, his little moment in the second quarter that was probably like all of his buckets, I think, happened in the time in like a 5-minute stretch or less. But it was just an electric factory. So that's my other thing I noted from this game, was just that second quarter with Aaron Wiggins was a huge help. It wasn't really a close game at that point yet. I think it pretty much was always between like 15 and 20 for that first half after the lead got to where it was. But that was a big part of the second quarter where Shea was out and the second unit was in, where just like a bunch of instant offense. So that's my other single large item. Aaron Wiggins, who, again, for inexplicable reasons, never showed up again. But when he did, it was pretty cool.
I mean, hey, it worked out, but yeah, I was shocked, especially as well as he did. By 8 points in 7 minutes is like, in the playoffs is nuts.
He was on the floor for 7 minutes, but I'm pretty sure those 8 points happened like, in a window of like 3 to 4 minutes of game time. It was just bang, 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 and every shot was crazier than the next. Yeah,
and there was one where he had he had one where they tipped the ball out on a steal. He was able to track it down. He literally saved the basketball, and he had to, usually if you're going in like transition, it's like almost like a straight line, or at least like a slanted line to the basket. He was all the way over at like the wing and had to go directly across. So the defender, I think it was Desmond Bane actually, was able to like track him down pretty good and basically almost tackled him, and he's still able to finish the shot for the and 1, but it was an and 0 because he missed a free throw. But still, really good play. I think it was the next possession or the possession afterwards in which he drove in and Edey was there at the rim, and he flipped the ball up high off the glass over Edey, and it dropped straight in, which was phenomenal. Which, by the way, I don't even think I realized this as the game went on. I want to see how much he played because I don't want to be wrong. Yeah, we basically played Edey off the floor. He played 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. Yeah, and that matches the eye test because I don't remember seeing him out there much in the second half. He
definitely was looking a little lost out there on offense. Like, he was picking up his dribble a couple times. So I think that was probably a fair move by Memphis to pivot. They played a lot more Luke Kennard. I don't think he played a single second.
No, he didn't play at all. Well, he played garbage time.
Except for garbage time, yeah.
Yeah, and at first it was like, oh yeah, he's actually doing some stuff, and it was like, oh wait, no, it's Luke Kennard. So
yeah,
if you're relying on Luke Kennard to kind of get you back into this playoff series,
yeah. I mean, that's all they got though. Like, who else? Yeah. Who else are gonna? They can't throw out anybody else.
Yeah, Marvin Bagley didn't go out there and shoot a perfect percentage again either. So
yeah, surprise.
Tough for them, but all right. Yeah, I mean, hey, you left it for me, so I'm going my next thing large item. Chet freaking Holmgren, man. Yeah. And I cannot say enough how good Chet Holmgren's been in this playoffs. and historically how good he is whenever he has rest. And that time off between the last two games of the season that he didn't play, and then, of course, the time in between the end of the season and the start of our playoff series is paying dividends for Chet Holmgren, because he looks phenomenal out there. He had 20 points and 11 rebounds, as we said earlier, 5 blocks, 6 of 14 shooting. So not the most efficient, but 3 of 8 from 3. We'll take that every day. And 5 of 6 from free throws. This is the second consecutive game. I mean, obviously we've only played 2 games, but in the past 2 games, he's had 6 and I think 8 free throw attempts. He hit 5 tonight. So I really love the aggression. I love that he's getting to the line. As we mentioned earlier, and we mentioned in the last pod, his shot looks great. His 3-point shot looks great in terms of spotting up, in terms of who was it? Chen brought up in the chat, he made a jump stop 3 that was so quick. Not really seen much of that from him before. He was kind of getting in his bag on the shooting wise. And then late in the game, man, when the Grizzlies were really trying to make a run, him and Shea really buckled down on the glass and trying to see. So the fourth quarter, he had 2 rebounds, but they were both down the final stretch. And on one of the rebounds, it was an offensive rebound, and he was able to muscle up a dunk to just kind of put the game out of reach. It was the exclamation point on our victory. And, with it came the primal yell that we love seeing from our I guess a fellow lanky Chet Holmgren. Love seeing the lank guys yell. So yeah, man, Chet was awesome. He's working out there defensively. He is changing, altering shots, changing shots, blocking shots. He had one tonight where I can't remember. I think it was Desmond Bane. He drove in on him, and Bane kind of started to fall as he was making his shot. And Chet just 2 hands, just bam, right back at him. He's nuts, man. And if he's playing like this, iHeart played really good in game 1. Tonight, he was fine. 6 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block, but not nearly as impactful. But Chet maintained his impact in spite of iHeart not playing as much and not playing as effective. So Chet was kind of getting his in spite of iHeart. So as good as the double big lineup's kind of been, Chet has been getting his with playing with Shea, playing with Dub, and also creating for himself. So yeah, I can't say enough about Chet Holmgren, man. His aggressiveness and his confidence going in this playoff series has been huge for us, and hopefully that continues on.
Yeah, the confidence, he's seeing the floor very, very well, making always the right decision. I do want to say because he was going to be my other single edge item. Isaiah Hartenstein, not necessarily the best offensive game. I thought defensively he was awesome. Jaren Jackson Jr. did put up, I think 26 points, pretty good shooting tonight. But every single one of those field goals he made required the most effort he could muster to get them in. He was just bodying him the entire time. So the floater was kind of off today, but defensively that I felt like was a really big impact, especially because that was pretty much all Memphis had was Jaren Jackson Jr. on that end.
As Jim mentioned, the Memphis adjusted to take away the iHeart floater. I think he had 2 in the first quarter, and then from there
he had a couple.
One actually.
He had one, but it was not typically where he takes his floaters. It was kind of like a baseline, a little bit farther than normal, which he missed. So yeah, they definitely took away where he would prefer to shoot. So yeah. But yeah, going back to Chet, the 3 of 8 shooting was what I wanted to see. And if Memphis is going to leave him as open as they did for a lot of those shots, that's, we'll take that every day. I think he is fully capable and essentially an open gym, if that's what they're going to give him, of making 3 threes a game. In terms of just spacing, that's huge for everybody else, especially Shea once he gets back into the swing of things.
Yeah, that was something else I saw too. Sorry, the last thing, because I forgot about that as you was mentioning that. But Memphis was selling out to stop Shea. as Tim mentioned right here, Edey was parked in the paint. Like whenever they would run the pick and roll or pick and pop, I guess, with Shai and Chet, Shai's man and the big would follow Chet into the lane, and they did not even care that Chet had just an island of space to shoot on, and just acted like he wasn't going to knock it down for some reason, and he made them pay.
Yeah, and that's also like in a more general sense why the Thunder had a record 12 threes in that half. It wasn't necessarily like they were just hitting incredible shots. Memphis was just giving so much space, not just to Chet, but Dub too. Like Dub had a really pretty open three for someone who's pretty reliable three-point shooter. The other thing I was going to say about Chet was like his rebounding. There's games where he kind of isn't necessarily like not looking to get a rebound, but he's sort of not as like physical, I guess, on that end. And I thought tonight, like every time it was a contest, he was for the most part just like able to sort of rip it down. And iHeart does take a lot of that pressure off of him to get double digits every night. He did today with 2011, but it's the aggressiveness on that end too, I made a special note of. So you definitely want to see more of that. And that does come from Chet being healthy and not being, not playing every other game for, 5-6 months. You obviously will have to do that for these series, but there's probably going to be some breaks in between if we expect how the series is going to go. So that's very good news for the Chet community out there. I think that the shooting, the rebounding is going to get better, and I think his defense is always going to be elite. I think his playmaking is going to always be very, very good. But those extra little things around that have been improving, and that's a very good sign. We love that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. You got another single large item for us?
It was iHeart, but I kind of mentioned it already. I think his defense was awesome. Would have liked to see a little bit more on the offensive end and sort of controlling the offense as he can do with sort of like dribble handoffs, and he did have a couple of good looks. I think he had it was a cutback to Wiggins, I want to say. He made a good pass there.
Yep.
So he had some good
off to Dort too, and which
it might have been Dort.
He kind of jump stopped right at the rim, and two people flew at him. He just kind of dumped it to Dort.
Yeah,
he basically
that's the play I'm thinking of. Yeah, I thought it was Wiggins. It was Dort. Yeah. So yeah, he was still making some good plays, but just not as much as you would like to see. But defensively, that's exactly what you need to stop Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't think he's going to shoot 10 of 19 if that's the type of defense we're going to put every game. So did want to shout that out as well. Yeah.
I guess my last one, and if Cone doesn't jump on, we'll talk about Shad, but my last one is Isaiah Joe. Stats weren't like crazy at 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 of 6 shooting, 1 of 5 from deep, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. But the thing about Isaiah Joe, man, and something that I've noticed about him really like a lot this season is how much more he is than just a shooter or an offensive player in general. Like the leap that he's made in his defense, his playmaking, his rebounding, and tonight it was his hustle. Like offensive rebounds are 100% hustle, and he had 3 of them tonight. Looks like he tied iHeart and Shai, actually, ironically, for the most offensive rebounds on the team. And there was one specifically in which 2 Memphis players were trying to get it, and it was like, it was going to be an easy transition bucket for him. And Isaiah Joe just like swooped in behind them, not only stole the ball, looped around. Nobody came to contest him at all. And then we got to see why the moon ball haunts you, Isaiah Joe from 3. And it was phenomenal, man. And he had a couple other plays. I think he had one where he leaked out on the fast break. That hit him with a beautiful outlet pass right in his breadbasket for the easy layup. I just when your role players are doing this is how you win basketball games. And Now, speaking of role players, I'm just kidding. Our star here,
Cook up.
Coming off the bench.
Cone. What is up, brother?
Yeah, came off the bench. What's good? The team's pretty good, huh?
Is that the guy that was on the Jumbotron today? His tweet?
No, it's the guy whose tweet was on the Jumbotron.
Wow.
It's different.
Yeah, when they said that in the chat, I was like, why?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I was also confused. Like, people were adding me a lot. Like, yo, Cone, you're on the Jumbotron. I'm like, I was on the Jumbotron? Like,
I'm in New York, bro.
I was like, how did I didn't understand. But, I mean, here we are. Team's pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good basketball, man.
Yeah, oh, sorry. One thing I just wanted to say about the offensive rebound you're saying, Dylan. That play especially, I think, was like the epitome of what this series has been in terms of like effort. Like that,
Wanting
that's
it more.
just wanting it more. I think I don't know how many times we've outdone the team in offensive rebounds, but I think we were like +6 today, and that does not happen very often with this team. So that was kind of another stat you can look at and be like, yeah, this is they are just a better coached, better culture team.
We had 13 more rebounds than Memphis did today, too, like in general. So
that's wild.
Just winning the possession battle on the glass. Cone, we've gone through pretty much the whole game, but we saved the topic that everybody's talking about on Twitter for you to kind of tee off on. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, ended up having a pretty good box score with 27 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, but he once again shot below 40% from the field, 10 to 29, which is actually 34.5%, 3 of 10 from deep, and a lot of people are saying that he looks disinterested, he's trolling. It's the Aries Grays, and he's go back to the Butters. Cone, should we be worried about Shai going into the rest of this playoffs?
Would I be worried about someone who dominated the playoffs last year and then has had 72 straight games of 20-plus points and is going to win the MVP? No, I'm not worried. Also, last year against the Pelicans, I mean, he was good, but he also wasn't like typically up to his Shai standards. Like, he was solid, but not fantastic. And then against the Mavericks, I mean, he just eviscerated them completely. Like, sometimes it takes Shai a little bit to get going, especially after long rest breaks. He kind of has some games here and there. I mean, he's getting to all his spots. If he was like struggling to get to his spots, I'd be a lot more concerned. Like, oh, he looks slow, but I mean, he's getting to his spots pretty much every single time. I mean, I feel amazing. The fact that Shai's struggling like this and the team is still just annihilating the Grizzlies. Like, I mean, I'm not concerned whatsoever. We've seen what Shai can do a million times. The bigger question was, who would step up alongside Shai in the playoffs. And I mean, Dub's been awesome. Chet's been unbelievable. Hartenstein's been great. Wiggins has had some really good moments. Like, everybody's played well. Caruso has been unbelievable. Like, I mean, everyone's been good. So I don't have any concern. Shai is the guy that I was least concerned about and still the guy I'm least concerned about. He'll be perfectly fine. Like, next game, he's going to come out and have a hyper efficient, like 32 in a win. I mean, really, it just feels like right now he's just trying to get that rhythm from 3 because he shot 10 threes. Like, he never shoots 10 threes. So, like, 7 of 19 overall from 2, which still isn't great. But if you take, the 7 missed threes out of the equation, it looks better percentage-wise. So, yeah, I'm not super worried about Shai. He's getting to all his spots, just the shots aren't falling. And, I mean, if anything, I'm part of the conspiracy theory that the Shai Butters might need
I was about to say the shoes. Yeah. It's the shoes.
Yeah, the only
new red shoes, man.
Yeah, I think Aries will understand if he switches back to the Butters. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Maybe he's got a different colorway for round 2, and he's just going to absolutely fry everyone. Unless it's a red colorway, then we might be going.
Oh no!
Man,
don't put that out in the world.
That might be a nightmare. Let's not do that one. I will say, whenever me and Jerry met Shai at the meetup, we asked him, like, when's the Thunder colorways coming out? And he said all the flavors are dropping around the same time. So maybe Thunder colorways coming round 2. That'd be hype.
It was a very casual. I just talked to Shady, and just asked him this, but that's cool.
I mean,
cool.
I just had to bring it
it's
up.
Cool.
But
yeah.
No, I mean, obviously, I'm with you, Cam. Like, I'm not worried about Shai at all. The thing that kind of stands out to me is when we needed Shai to like be the Shai that we know and love, he was that guy. Like in the third quarter at the 5-minute mark. Yeah. The Grizzlies cut the lead to 8 points.
Yeah, I think they got to 8, and then Shai just fried them for a few minutes.
Yeah, Shai came in, made a mid-range shot. Jaren Jackson Jr. Pushed it back to 8. Shai came in, drove the lane, had a ridiculous double clutch layup in traffic. The next play was the block. Dub got a dunk. We had a couple subs in and out. Right after that, Shea got a layup. At that point, that 8-point lead had ballooned all the way back into a 14-point lead. And the Thunder didn't really look back after that. They didn't get to single digits after that. I think the closest they got was 11. And, then Shea started shooting threes again. And, people on Twitter were rolling their eyes. They were cursing at the air. Like they were upset about it. But when the game got tight, when we needed Shea to be Shea, he was that guy. I agree with you. I think that he's trying to get himself into rhythm going into later round of the playoffs. I don't think he's trolling. We saw this earlier in the year as well. Whenever we would play, and it feels weird because it's the playoffs, but whenever we would play a subpar team, that was when Shea would, for lack of a better term, experiment.
Yeah.
And that's when we would see these high volume 3-point shooting games. And these are the very same games that we've had these same conversations. People on Twitter would be like, why is he shooting so many threes? Why is he doing the pull-up three? Why is he doing this? Blah, 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 blah. And, there were stretches in the year where, he would start doing those in the games that matter. And, he would have, these 40-point, 50-point games, these games in which he, carried the whole team. So, yeah, I'm not worried at all. And the other thing that kind of stands out to me is, it's one thing if you're just quote unquote chucking up shots and then just mailing it in with the rest of the game. He's not mailing it. He had 8 rebounds tonight. He had 5 assists and he had some ridiculous reads in the first half. I think that he's had a little bit of a playmaking jump, in the past couple playoff games that we've seen.
Huge playmaking jump over the course of this season.
Yeah, and then the overhead no look pass to Lou Dort for the 3 just absolutely.
That's the thing with Shea too, is even when the jumper's not falling, he's impacting the game defensively. He's playmaking well. He's drawing attention for defenses. There were a number of times where he didn't get the assist, but it was a hockey assist, or he put the defense in rotation to the point where it ended up leading to a wide open bucket. There's an impact far beyond the box score. And obviously, the thing Shea's known for is the efficiency. And it's going to come back. I'm not worried whatsoever that Shea's going to be inefficient. He's going to be perfectly fine. Memphis is a team that's had some, great defensive moments throughout the season. They've got a big body down low, and Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a great defender. They've got some good defenders, and even still Shea's getting to his spots. It's just majority of the time, it's barely missing. So I'm not worried at all. He's going to be perfectly fine. Unless the next colorway is a red one, then we might be in for a second round exit. But, outside of that worst case scenario, Shea's good. Yeah, not really worried at all. Real quick, I'll run through a couple of things I want to shout out since you already been through everything.
Do it.
J-Dub, I said on Twitter that the J-Dub playoff leap was coming. And, I said that right before the first Lakers game. I can't remember. I think we were playing against the Rockets, and J-Dub had that awesome game. I'm like, the Dub playoff leap is coming. He's going to have an awesome one. I'm not worried about him whatsoever. And then after that first Lakers game, a bunch of Lakers fans quote tweeted and decided to clown me. J-Dub has been unbelievable through his first 2 playoff games tonight, 24, 6, 5, and 1, 52.6% shooting. The defense has been otherworldly. The transition attack, he is a weapon. And that's what's so great to see, is that Shea not playing well is giving J-Dub a chance to step up, and he's stepping up. So yeah, huge shout to J-Dub. Chet, also ridiculous. I know a lot of people are freaking out oh my God, what's he going to look like in the playoffs? Because he had a little bit of a down end to the regular season. This is what he's going to do. 20 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks, hit 3 threes in this one. Chet's been ridiculous. Rim protection, shot making, everything in between. The double big thing looks amazing against the Grizzlies. And this is why you get those reps. This is why sometimes it's ugly, because you go up against a team with a lot of size in Memphis and you're like, oh, okay, we've run this before a million times now and we're perfectly fine. If you just stopped using it sometimes in the regular season because it was a little bit of a struggle at moments, you wouldn't have had all this experience to now put you in this spot. Alex Caruso. This is why you trade for Alex Caruso, by the way. Out there diving on the floor, sacrificing his body, blocking Ja Morant flying in. Unfortunately, doesn't have quite the legs anymore at his old age to get that dunk at the end of the first half. J-Dub let him know about it on the bench. But this is why you trade for a veteran playoff guy like Caruso, and why there are some people freaking out. Oh my God, we traded Giddey. He's playing really well to end the season. Last year, Giddey was unplayable in the playoffs, and it was cool that he went ahead and took that leap at the end of the regular season, but we needed a guy that could contribute in the playoffs and wreak havoc the way that he did, and that's exactly what he did in this game, the first 2 games. Last game, he had the biggest plus-minus ever for someone that didn't take a shot attempt, and if you want to talk about the most Alex Caruso stat ever, that's exactly that. Shout out to Queso for just kind of putting himself into the dunk contest conversation. It feels like at this point.
Are you rocking with the cookies and cream nickname for Kaysen and Caruso?
I'm rocking with it. It's actually heat. Shout out to Dort. 9 boards, by the way, for Lou Dort. Yep. 3 of them being offensive, which was sick. And also just his ability to hit threes now is awesome. Wiggins was great. Isaiah Joe. Yeah, I mean, everybody played extremely well. Like, really nothing else to say. And I want to go ahead and reiterate, like, I remember in the offseason, I said to a lot of people, we did a lot of podcasts, that Isaiah Hartenstein was my dream free agent acquisition. He was the guy I wanted more than anything. And there were a lot of people that were like, do we really want a non-stretch big and this and that? We paid him. And some people were like, whoa, that's an overpay. Y'all see it. Like the way that he's revolutionized this offense in the playoffs. Part of the reason why it's so much easier for Dub now is because how many like buckets did he get today, or how many, good attacks did he get that maybe led to him having a dime, but just how much good offense did we generate off someone giving the ball to Isaiah Hartenstein, running around him, dribble handoff or passing to him, and then immediately cutting, and he likes to hit them with that little quick pass back. Mm-hmm. Like, he generates so much easy offense. It's ridiculous. And one of my favorite things is because they're not really worried about him shooting threes. They'll leave him wide open on the perimeter. And he's like, okay, he just takes 2 dribbles in and shoots the little floater shot that goes in literally every single time. Just such an impactful player. It's unbelievable that there were people that were not in on him. And because he was always, he was so big for the Knicks last year in the playoffs. And then when you put him in a system with just even more talent here that could really maximize his strengths, iHeart was always going to be awesome. So, I was almost sitting there like, I felt like a proud like father, just like, oh my God, the guy I wanted in free agency, he's going out there, he's wreaking havoc, he's destroying everything. Like, this is the vision I had when I kept saying that I really wanted him in free agency. So,
vindication.
Yeah, exactly. And the Grizzlies put up a decent fight at some moments today. It's just really unfortunate for them that decent fight meant cutting it to 8 and then immediately the lead going back up to like 20. Anytime that, we hit a couple of shots, like I don't think made a single 3 in the third quarter. And like the offense was stalling out a little bit. Also in the first quarter, like not our best offensive game. And it just like, it didn't even not matter. It didn't matter in the slightest. It was unbelievable. And I saw you put John Lawrence's, comment up there. If Dub and Chet can consistently play at this level, nobody can stop this squad. Exactly. That's the way it is. Like, if Dub and Chet are playing at this level, there's nobody that is going to beat the Thunder. It's just not going to happen.
Yep. It's hey, might drop. Like, that's all we gotta say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wanted to go ahead and rip off real quick and just give my quick thoughts on all the other stuff you already touched on.
Just a quick heater from Isaiah Joe off the bench, drop a quick 10
there
threes.
You go. I got you. Also, just a shout out to this team and how much they fight for everything. I know y'all were talking about that a little bit as I popped in. But like the hustle on this team, because I think it was maybe maybe it was Candace Parker on the broadcast, where she was saying like it feels like the roles are reversed almost. Like, I couldn't remember if it was Sparrow or Candace. One of the two of them said that it feels like the Thunder are the 8th seed with the way they're, diving for every loose ball, the way that they're fighting relentlessly. Like, they feel like they need to earn every possession. But no, it's the number 1 overall seed by like 16 games. And they're still fighting for every possession. Like, it's do or die out there. And I think that has to do a lot with the mentality of this team, the identity they have. Mark Daigneault constantly, implementing into them that it's 0-0. Like, every game doesn't matter except the next game. Chet Holmgren afterwards, he was asked about it, and he's like, "Doesn't matter. We got Game 3 coming up." And it's like, hell yeah, that's exactly what
0-0,
baby.
It's 0-0 mentality because they're going back home. They played better this game. They dropped the margin of loss by what was it? They lost by 19, so they brought it down 32 points.
That's huge.
So, we can't let it happen again. Otherwise, they're going to win next one by 13, and then it's going to get real rough from there. No. We gotta curb it a little bit. I'm getting worried. But yeah, to put up just. Tieran, I know you said this. I think it was you in the chat who said that. It's so funny that now one of my favorite games is just, what record did the Thunder break this time? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the record I'm now looking at. Is like, what's the largest point deficit for a 7-game series in the playoffs? Because we got to be close. Like, if it's 32, that's got to be something pretty substantial. So we'll figure this out at some point, and that will be the next one to track. But yeah, at halftime, like, there's always a record we set every single time.
Yeah, no, it's been a ride, man. I'm really enjoying it, and I mean, the sweep feels inevitable at this point. And while we got Cone here, this is NBA Pod. I think we covered every portion of the game that we could possibly cover. Just kind of looking at the rest of the West and specifically our matchup. Like, this it's kind of playing out like we thought it would whenever the seeds were announced. Like, it's looking like we're gonna sweep. And it's very much looking like the Clippers and Nuggets are going to go to a 6 or 7 game series.
Yeah. I think it's
perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for.
That's such a fun series too. I hope that goes 7.
Oh, it's great basketball. Yeah, this is it's all going OKC at the moment in that side of the bracket. Like, I mean, just overall in general, like the Lakers right now, they're up 15 at halftime against the Wolves, but it's been like they lost game 1, so they don't have home court advantage. And that one feels like it's going to be a battle. It's physical. Golden State and Houston is like the most physical basketball possible. Clippers, Nuggets, every game, it's only been 2, but both games have come all the way down to the wire. These two teams are beating each other up. And then the Thunder are just like annihilating the Grizzlies on a nightly basis. Like it is going exactly the way that you want it to. Very intrigued to see how that series goes. I picked the Clippers to win in 7. I do still think they're the team that's going to ultimately win. Kawhi was awesome in game 2. Jokic, one of his worst playoff games in quite a while in game 2. Like he had statistically it was pretty good, but 7 turnovers, missing a bunch of free throws. Like the defense was rough, just stuff you typically don't see from Jokic. And part of that is just a very annoying Clippers defense. But he's going to bounce back. Jamal Murray was really good. Michael Porter Jr. was a lot better. I think this one is going to go at least 6. I much more think like it feels like the by far most likely outcome is a 7-game series, which is again exactly what you want to see. And I believe if we sweep and that one goes 7, we get like a week of rest. Like in between, which again, you couldn't ask for anything better.
It's kind of low-key good that Denver came back in that game 1. Like the Clippers could have very easily made this like a 5-game series because they could have been up 2-0 going home.
Yeah.
And the fact that Denver pulled that off and Clippers kind of blew that that's actually huge for
it's
looking
huge.
long
And
term.
it's funny because I almost felt like the wrong team won each of these games. Like I felt like it should have been the Nuggets game 1 and the Clippers game 2 to win, but it's just not the way it works out in the playoffs sometimes. And it's just funny because like, as neutral fans, like, I mean, I'm loving a lot of these series so far. It's been super, super fun to watch. Knicks Pistons has been great. That Warriors Rockets game 1 was electric. Of course, like Bucks Pacers earlier today was an awesome game 2 as well. Shout out to the Pacers for going up 2-0. You want to talk about Giannis trades. If that series goes to a sweep or like a 5-game exit, we might have to start talking. Maybe not for us because we might win the championship, but Giannis in general, Giannis trades, like that could be something that starts to get discussed a little bit more.
Alex will be rubbing his hands together for that.
Yeah, but I know like it's so funny because a lot of these series are just like absolute dogfights. Cleveland and the Celtics aren't going to have problems. But it's like, oh, I'm enjoying the hell out of this. And everyone else is like, oh my God, this is so annoying. Like as a fan, it's probably way more fun as a neutral. And then for us as fans, we're like, oh yeah, the Thunder are going to win by like 19, 20 points tonight or 51. Either that.
Yeah, I think Kevin O'Connor brought it up, but if the Thunder, so game 3 is obviously Thursday and game 4 is Saturday. So if we sweep, we would be done on Saturday. Kevin O'Connor said that if that game goes to 7 games, or if the Clippers Nuggets go 7-game series, we wouldn't actually play till May 5th, which is 9 days apart from each other. So we would get more than a week of rest if that was to happen. And
and it's great. It's great to see too, because I'm sure some people would be like, ooh, are we going to get a little rusty? Is that going to be a problem? But I feel a lot better about that because we just got a massive, break and we came out and immediately won by 51 points. Yeah. So I feel good. I feel good about the rest.
I will say because this was like a national media perspective, there was a lot of talk about how Memphis was like, and I mean, they put themselves in the situation, but they did come off like a very intense game on, late Thursday, and then they had to play Saturday afternoon. So it was like a 36-hour window. I don't think that's the reason they lost by 51. I mean, maybe if they had some extra rest, they lose by 41. But that's the one counter argument to that. But
I was just gonna say that's the other thing, because if it goes to game 7 would be played on May 5th or May 3rd. So you would have another 36-hour turnaround before you're playing again.
That's true. Okay. Good point.
So.
But yeah, I mean, there is something like, because in this game one, there we did look a little rusty. I would be a little bit worried about that, but I think the better thing is that, we were talking about before with Chet and how rest is so huge for him in the series. Like, that's probably a net positive for us, just given that alone.
Yeah, I think the rest for Chet is a big reason why he's playing so well at the moment. Because we saw last year in the playoffs, Chet got exhausted. He played all 82 games. His legs like kind of gave out from under him. All those threes turned into laser beams right at the rim, and they were all short. Like he seems a lot more in rhythm and a lot more spry right now. And maybe the injury ended up being a blessing in disguise to give him time to rest throughout the season, to allow him to be where he is at the moment for the playoffs. It took some time for him to get into rhythm, and I'm sure there still might be some up and down moments because, again, he missed so much time with that injury. But it is nice that he got the chance to not have to put all that strain on his body through another 82-game season or however many he would have played otherwise. And he also got that week of rest. I think that all in general could have been huge for him to, be himself when we need him most in the playoffs. Because in regular season, obviously we were able to survive without him. But in these games, these matchups, we need Chet to go ahead and win it all.
Cohen, I want to ask you a ranking question
that
I kind of proposed to Tierney here. Based on the past 2 games, and I guess based on the whole season, but like specifically the past 2 games, where would you rank Jalen Williams in the league as a transition player?
As a transition player, he's up there, man. He's a weapon.
He's a freight train, dude.
Yeah, the combination of the strength, like he just got bodies bouncing off of him when he goes. The handle is not the tightest in the world, but a lot of times he doesn't need it because he's got the strength, and it's relatively tight, especially for a guy who plays like the 3 and the 4. Yep. He's got great like touch around the rim. Where did I rank him like overall? Probably like top 15, top 10-ish. And I don't know if I go as far as top 10, but like I'd say probably top 15 transition weapon. I mean, maybe you could talk top 10. I don't know. It's hard to really say because you think immediately about some of the best players in the world, and also like different. If I'm thinking like transition score, like sending him downhill, like in transition, then I could probably talk top 10.
Yeah.
What would you say to top 5?
Top 5.
Hyperbolically.
It's like Giannis, I think about, and LeBron as well.
Yeah, that's what we said too. He's like a Giannis, LeBron light in transition.
Yeah, I definitely see a little bit of like LeBron light sometimes with Dub when he's going downhill. I'm not saying he's LeBron James.
Yeah,
we are.
In terms of just the in terms of go into the body and just like throw guys off of you, like just bouncing off. I see that for sure.
Yep, I'm with that. Yeah, I want to ask you this, kind of, going to the East side, you mentioned that the Celtics and the Cavs won't have any problems. Jason Tatum's listed as doubtful for the Magic game in Game 2. Do you think that the Magic could possibly steal a game from Boston?
They're going to do it. They're going to do it, baby. I have Celtics in 5. They're going to win 1, baby. Just one.
Maybe they could take
Magic.
1. Like, it's possible, I guess, but I don't know, man. Just like last game, Tatum shot poorly. Jaylen Brown was under 50%. Porzingis was like non-existent offensively, and they just got annihilated. Like, it just didn't matter, man. It's just like it's Derek White, it's Peyton Pritchard, like Drew Holiday hit a few threes. They're just so loaded. It's crazy. And not to mention that the Magic just have no firepower at all. Powell and Franz had unbelievable games, and they still got just eviscerated. The third leading scorer for them was Jonathan Isaac. Like,
I think he had like 7 too. It's like,
yeah, it was
something crazy.
Yeah, and he was below 10. I think he was probably around that range. Like, it was. They just don't have weapons. Like they're going to need a big game from Cole Anthony, but he's going to be trying to score on Derek White and Drew Holiday. They're going to need another masterclass from Powell and Franz. I think they could take a game. I mean, I picked Magic in 5. Clearly, I overestimated these lower seeds and thinking that they might be able to take a game. I picked like Celtics in 5. I had Thunder in 5, and clearly that was probably a mistake.
Yeah, you said Thunder 5. I was like, come on, why, bro?
Just because
they're gonna put that tweet up on the Jumbotron next.
Just because like sometimes we, like every team is prone to some off games, and they are very talented. Like they've got Ja, they've got Bane, they've got Jaren. Like if they get one hot shooting, and we saw it against the Lakers. I mean, in today's NBA especially, I feel like it's harder than ever to sweep teams because if a team gets hot from 3, you're just suddenly, and you're cold, it's kind of just over. So I don't know. Maybe like I clearly maybe there was a part of me that didn't want to just put Thunder and 4 out there and make people upset. Like, really, you don't think we can take a game and have Grizzlies fans mad at me? Maybe that was a part of it. But fine. Next, Clippers, Nuggets, whatever. I'll say Thunder and 4.
Fine. There you go.
Fine. There we go.
Double down.
I got Grizzlies fans being mad at me just for being excited for the playoff game. So
yeah, I mean they're fighting their own demons right now, man. They're just taking it out on you. They're battling a lot of internal stuff because I think there are major changes coming to Memphis. I think at least one, if not multiple, of Ja, Bane, Jaren could be very well gone this offseason. And it's a big three where nobody's like a guy, and that's a problem. Because like Ja can maybe get back to that level, but I don't know. Like not being a jump shooter all that much is limiting, and like Ja's really good, but I don't know if I don't think he's ever going to get to best player in championship team level. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he's still really young. Like I don't want to give up on him completely. I'm definitely not. But I just feel like maybe Ja is like a really good like 2 for you as opposed to like a really, really good 2. And you kind of got to get a guy. I mean, I think they're a very feasible like Kevin Durant suitor. That wouldn't shock me if KD ends up there. Imagine KD in a Grizzlies uniform. That'd be super weird.
Gross.
It's kind of
feels gross.
Kind of gross. Shaq Celtics coded a little bit. Except KD's still one of the best in the world. But I mean, maybe by the end of his Grizzlies tenure, it might match up with that. That just feels like one of those ones where you like it's Tony Parker in a Hornets jersey. You're like, why the hell did that happen?
What happened here? Or how did we arrive at this place?
Yeah, because like if Jaren makes third team All NBA, if he makes third team All NBA, won't he be like Supermax eligible?
Yes, he's gonna make it, and he's gonna be Supermax eligible. And man, that's gonna put them in a bind. Like that's so tough. Jaren's really good, but that's a lot of money.
Overpay. A little bit of an overpay.
So I don't know. I mean, that's also a weird thing about like the 65 games played rule. Not only does it result in like guys not getting paid because they're not eligible, but it results in other guys getting paid. And sometimes it makes things a lot more difficult for their teams. And Jaren was really good this season, even if a lot of other people were healthy, maybe he still would have made it. But I mean, if like Luka played enough games, he would have been on there. If Joel Embiid played enough games, he would have been on there. He was going to make it over Kevin Durant, but KD is someone else who didn't end up playing enough games. Who were some of the other people? There were a lot of
Wemby,
yes, thank you. I was going to say, I know a lot of people missed time, and I'm blanking on half of them. Wemby didn't play enough. Maybe Dame if he ended up playing enough. Because Dame did ultimately not play enough, right?
Yeah.
Question.
He missed out.
Oh, yeah, he only played 58.
Missed a lot of the end.
Yeah, man, they're in a tough spot. Like, I really don't know what they do. Anthony Davis is another guy that maybe could have ended up making it if he played enough games.
True.
As a Dallas Maverick, what a weird world we live in. Kawhi Leonard, if he played enough games, although that's always up in the air. But Memphis, like right now, we're giving them a beatdown that sends a franchise into a spiral because they were ahead of us. Like they were very well ahead of us. They were a 2 seed. They went to the conference semifinals. They really doubled down on this core. They just didn't really execute after that. Like they've made bad decisions. They've done a really bad job of drafting in a lot of spots. They've gotten some good draft picks, here and there. Like Brandon Clark's been pretty good, even though he deals with injury. I think Zach Edey's a fine player. He's struggling a lot right now against us at the moment. Yeah, shout out to Shaquille O'Neal. The Hakeem Olajuwon, baby. It's devastating to see my guy Zach Edey get torched by us. Like that case and dunk he had, Zach Edey went out to him on the perimeter. I'm like, this is not going to end well. I was like, Kaysen is going to put him in the absolute dust. I really don't know what the move is because you've got a big 3 that you're going to be paying a lot of money. And Ja's good, but he's not like a guy for you. Jaren's good, but he's not a guy. Bane is like solid, but I don't know how much I'd be willing to pay him. And like, I don't know, you want Bane as like part of your big 3. He feels like someone who's very well. Like, hey, he's a really good guard, but I don't know if he's ever going to make an all-star game because it's, loaded in the Western Conference. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
Yeah. There are a lot of teams spiraling kind of around the NBA right now. If you look at the landscape, we're in a very spiral-heavy association at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Feels good to not be spiraling.
Oh, yeah. It feels really nice. But, like, the Nuggets could end up being a little bit. Whoever loses that Nuggets Clippers series is going to be sent into a spiral. And then whoever plays us, depending on how quickly that series ends, they could also be sent to a spiral. Like Grizzlies are going into one, Kings are definitely in one, Mavs are in one, Suns are in one. That whole little 8 to 11 stretch, Pelicans are kind of in one. They're in a really weird spot. If the Knicks lose to the Pistons here, they could start spiraling. Bucks are going to spiral.
I mean, spiral might be better than at least purgatory. At least you know you're going down.
Yeah, although
Then
then
doing something.
You could be the Chicago Bulls, who
Chicago Bulls are the worst
I had to do
situation possible.
I did a BR stream that was Domantas Sabonis trade packages the other day, or like landing spots, and y'all, I can't lie, Chicago, like they've got a package that like I'm just picturing a world where they
actually
trade for
would do that
Domantas
too.
Sabonis. And they send Nikola Vucevic to the Sacramento Kings, and it's Levine, DeMar DeRozan, and Vooch back in Sacramento all together. And Kings fans are like, "This is the worst day of my entire life."
Chicago Kings.
That's
That would be a very Bulls trade. The Bulls are just constantly like, let's just get to the play-in, so it sounds like we're a good enough team for our fans, but don't actually make the playoffs. We're just gonna always be on the edge.
I don't know what their front office is doing, man. Like Arturas Karnisovas, he had one of his. Yeah, if y'all are ever, y'all need to appreciate Sam Presti because they really do have one of the best executives ever.
We don't appreciate him enough.
Yeah, you look at some of the other league or teams and where they're at, like the Mavs right now with Nico Harris and the way that thing's going, and like with the Bulls. I mean, literally, Arturas Karnisovas was asked like, "Hey, across the league, for the most part, to be successful, you have to bottom out at some point. You have to get a top pick. Like, what are you doing?" And he basically was just kind of like, "Oh, we plan on staying the course and being, we think building a competitive mentality is good." That's like, yeah, that's cool. If you have guys that can lead you to a championship someday and develop, like they just don't have the talent. And thank God Presti was, there was an alternate reality where we don't have Sam Presti, and whatever GM we have instead just tries to keep running it back with, Russ over and over and over again for the next like 10 years, and we never go anywhere. And love Russ, but it was good for both sides to go ahead and move on. And like, thank God we didn't keep trying that thing. Shout out to Russ, who apparently was like the guy that went in, was like, "Hey, we might need to do a trade here."
Yeah.
So I appreciate that because it set us up to be where we are now, and for him to now, he's being a critical contributor for Denver Nuggets team that's trying to compete themselves. So yeah, it's just we're in a blessed spot. That honestly, Sam, more than anything, maybe this is an insult to the Grizzlies, but playing this series is just making me feel grateful.
We're all grateful. We're just grateful for our lives as Thunder fans.
Yeah, it's great times. It's good times. And it gets better too. It came out that we have the 15 and the 24 pick in the draft with a chance to get the 7 and the 8.
Yeah, because we were what was the tie for us? Like it was 22 to like 25 or something like that.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't get, the 22nd pick, but we'll take that.
Get the 25th pick though.
That's true. Exactly. Glass half full. And I mean, if that Sixers pick drops, when is the draft lottery? It's like mid-May, right?
Something like that. It's
May
definitely
12th.
after the playoffs, right? Or no, it's during the playoffs.
Yeah, it's during the playoffs, yeah.
That's so weird.
Wow.
Monday, May 12th, y'all. It's not that far. That's 2. That's 1 day, 20 days away.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's going to be like mid, what is that?
Second round.
Yeah, second round. Okay.
Yeah, wow. I was talking to the Towers from No Ceilings the other day. It's like, when you having us on for the draft podcast? I'm like, brother, we're in the playoffs. Like, no offense, but I hope you got like we usually have like a murderer's row of draft people on our pod. But
sorry, Anthony Edwards just baptized Jackson Hayes. Oh my God.
I got to see that. That's gonna be amazing. But I was like, no offense, but I hope you guys are the only people that we have for draft coverage, because that means that we went all the way to the finals and won the championship, and we didn't have much time to cover the draft.
Yeah, we're finally out of the, as grateful as we are for all of our draft contributors, we're finally out of that long era of the off season where we're just doing draft talk every episode for like a month and a half.
How far have we come to the point where it's like, we'll get to draft talk when we get to it. When at this point,
whatever.
We
have championships to win.
We'd be so deep in draft talk at this moment.
We'd be like, who's this one guy from Europe again?
Tierney, that's Nikola Topic, and he's going to be the rookie of the year.
My
next year for
mistake. I
Cooper
forgot.
Flag.
I forgot his name. My apologies.
It's so funny that we just have to. I tweeted this out, but I was going to like the airport at just a ridiculous early time, around a week and a half ago. And I was just like, I'm just going to throw on Nikola Topic highlights to watch in the Uber. And I was sitting there in the back of the Uber like, ooh, okay, Tope. Like, it's fun, man.
That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's very on brand for Cone. You know, just like when we was at the Airbnb, I'd just come out of the living room. It'd just be Celtics Kyrie highlights. Like, just why not?
Sure.
We're just watching hoops. There was that one day, I can't remember who or what happened was someone, like, we were watching Shea highlights, I think, from like his first season with the team or something like that. And it just, YouTube just kept going to different highlights and just kept getting like more and more like down the rabbit holes, like Celtics Kyrie at one point, and it got to, I think, like MVPG at one moment. Like it was Harden Rockets highlights. I mean, it was sick. Like some of those Harden Rocket highlights, man, those go crazy.
Oh yeah. No, I gotta read this this stat from our guy Joel Lorenzi. Said the Thunder lineup at the start of the fourth quarter when it led 90-79 was Dub, Caruso, Hartenstein, Kaysen, and Isaiah Joe. Put up a 22.2 defensive rating in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Went on a 12-2 run.
Suffocation.
No breathing.
Man, I just feel bad for teams that have to try and score against us, man. I feel so bad.
It's a tough world out there for them.
It's tough.
Yeah, it literally feels like there's 47 defenders sometimes. Like I'm watching it now. You know your defense is good when you feel genuinely sorry for the opposing team.
I genuinely do feel bad for Memphis fans. Like it sound like with last season post playoffs with like the Mavericks, that was more of like an aggressive. I don't know. Hate's probably a strong word, but like I don't know. I'm not online like, you know, jabbing back at Grizzlies fans right now. I'm just like, yeah, this kind of probably sucks if you're just this level of talent going against an all-time defensive team.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it just sucks because they were like the next great young team in the West. Like it was them.
Yeah.
I was going through the Lakers game and podcasting, Chin. It's just unbelievable amounts of ADHD. Just the way that it's happening.
This is what Cone always does.
I've got the podcast on one half of the screen. I've got the Lakers Wolves game on the other side, and I've got my phone with Twitter open below me under my monitor. Yeah. That's where I'm at the moment.
I'll be looking at a stat on my phone, and I'll get a notification from Cone tweeting, and I'll just be like, "You're literally saying something. What do you want?"
Yeah, the neural pathways they never get overloaded. My brain is going way too fast all the time. But yeah, like the Grizzlies were supposed to be the team in the West. Like, you know, 2022, how many games did we win in 2021, 2022? Like that was probably 20.
I just had that stat up
season or something like that.
I was just looking at our game logs.
Wasn't that 30?
24.
2021, we went. This is the wrong season.
Yeah, 2022 we went 24-58, and the Grizzlies went 56-26. They literally they over reversed the record. Like they won 56 games. And they were like, that was the time. Like it's like, oh my God, the Grizzlies are like this young team that's going to take over the league. It's Ja, it's Bane, it's Jaren. If all these other young guys, you know, Dylan Brooks, like they're this scrappy defensive team. They're obnoxious. They pushed the eventual champion Warriors to 6 games despite Ja Morant dealing with injury. Like they were supposed to be the team, and it's just not how it's gone. They were the 2 seed the next season too, and then last year it was a disaster. This year they're an 8 seed getting annihilated. OKC stole their thunder. That's far.
Yeah.
Well done. Yep. Well done.
Yep.
Yeah, they're a cautionary tale, man. You know, because like it's like a total mismanagement and mishandling of, you know, a theoretical big three and maximizing them, you know, with what they can be. Like, I think that kind of like you were saying, Cone, about them all being good guys, about like Ja probably being a really good number 2, Jaren probably a really good number 3. Like, I think Bane can't be your third best player. Like, he is really good, but I think that he's, you know, he'd be better suited as like kind of like a Norm Powell type of role, something like that. And you still have like, you know, the other 3 guys to rely on. That's why like whenever KD was being shopped a couple of years ago, Grizzlies was like one of those teams that a lot of people thought that, like whenever he was getting traded from the Nets, like a lot of people thought that the Grizzlies could put something together for him. And he would have made a lot of sense because he would have been the go-to guy. Ja could have been like the Kyrie to his LeBron. Then you have Jaren Jackson Jr. as like the two-way four. And then, Bane, like I said, could kind of play that like Norm Powell role, kind of like carry your bench units, be a secondary scorer, whatever. But they just completely mismanagement. They went super young, and then they traded some of that talent for vets like Marcus Smart just to trade them away immediately.
That was a crazy mismanaged. What a crazy
was a nightmare for them. Like, I understand they needed to clear up a little bit of money for Jaren's contract they're just going to get, but the fact that you were competitive, like they were in the fight for the 2 seed around that time, and rather than adding anything, going after like a Cam Johnson or something, they just salary dump Marcus Smart. And credit to Marvin Bagley. He's actually been one of their better players through these first 2 games of the series. But like, he's the guy you brought in to try and help. It's just.
And even before that too, like what did they pay Marcus Smart in free agency? I felt like it was a pretty.
They traded for him.
Oh, was it from a trade from Boston?
Yeah, they traded for him.
I thought they traded him in free agency
from the Wizards.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean that whole just from acquiring him to the trade deadline, that whole. It just like never worked. That was such a bad
I mean,
bad time.
Like again, that's why to win in the NBA, you've got to hit on a lot of stuff, and you've got to get lucky in some ways too. But the Thunder have done a great job of controlling what they control. You get Isaiah Joe in for agency after he gets cut. You get Aaron Wiggins with a 55th pick. That's a crazy value for a 55th pick. You're able to sign Isaiah Hartenstein because you show what you can do, and you are able to land a free agent. That was absolutely huge, like the biggest free agent in Thunder history. You trade Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. Like, you made smart moves. You brought in Lou Dort as an undrafted free agent and developed him into now one of the best 3-and-D players in the entire sport. He's got an argument for probably the best when you consider where he is defensively, and the fact that he's a 40% 3-point shooter. He's got an argument for like the best 3-and-D guy. Kaysen, an absolutely awesome pick as well. Like AJ, we haven't seen a ton yet, but I'm pretty confident he's going to end up being a pretty good pick. You were able to get up there in the draft lottery, but picking Chet was the clear decision, but also the right decision. Like, you can't fumble things like that. It just did a good job. And it's, I mean, it's kind of the difference, in addition to the fact that, we have Shea, who is like a guy that is also a big difference maker. But yeah, like we are a very young team, but we added some veteran guys. Like Kenrich is a little bit older. We added Caruso. Isaiah Hartenstein's only 26 years old, but the Grizzlies, it's just all really, really young. And it's not like their young guys are like the best. And then you see the instability with the coaching firing late in the season too. Just a lot of weird stuff going on over there.
Yeah, I see a lot of people say, "Oh, you could see how much they miss Brandon Clark." It's like, yeah, they miss Brandon Clark, they miss Jalen Wells, but like, is that really going to swing the series for them?
I think that's going to make up for 30 points per game.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change it being the second biggest margin to open up a 7-game series ever. I don't think it's going to change that necessarily. Yeah,
do you have it up the largest deficit? Is that what you're looking at?
I can pull it up.
If you didn't, that's fine. I just didn't. I thought you already had it up.
I mean, I tweeted out about the largest deficit to the first 2 games.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's just the 2-game one. So yeah, it was the Lakers in 1986 against the Spurs, who were plus 75 after 2 games. Thunder are plus 70 after 2. And those are the only 2 teams that are above 60. Never mind into the 70s, because the next one below is the Lakers at an plus 59 in 1984. So.
Wow.
Poor Grizzlies on here twice. 2016 Spurs plus 58 through the first 2 games against the Grizzlies. That's tough, man.
That is crazy. All right, fellas. Well, hey, I think we've covered this game to pieces. We've covered the playoffs. We talked about the Thunder and their philosophy. Vibes are high, man. Like, it's a great time to be a Thunder fan, and this is just the beginning. Like, this is the first step to destiny. And we will continue that journey on Thursday, coming to you live once again when we travel to Memphis. Not us, but, the team. And then hopefully when we close out on Saturday, also in Memphis to complete the sweep. For some reason, when we go Game 5, we will come to you again for Game 5 as well. But, hey, stick with us for all of your playoff post-game coverage. We will be going to you live for every post-game. If you're in the chat, shout out to the chat. Chat was popping tonight. If you're in the chat, go ahead and comment. What was your favorite play from tonight? You got many options. offensively and defensively. Pretty partial to the case of Windmill, though. That was pretty awesome. And then while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we go live, as we will for every playoff game. And, yeah, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at OKC Topic Thunder, too. That would be really fun also. And, yeah, guys, it's been great. It's been awesome podding with you. Hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. And, as always, Thunder up!